So this story continues, but let's rewind back to where this first started. In 2006, I was running my Mindle market store, which was called Rachel's Designer Cake Market Cafe. And we sold coffins there. I'll put a picture in here. There was this psychic medium that's there. A lot of Darwin people would know him because he's an iconic part of the territory. He does readings. He's an older man. I don't know if he has Facebook or anything. I just know him from the Mindle markets and Nightcliff market. So anyway, I was like, it was around about my birthday. I usually get a reading done. And so I thought, oh yeah, I might as well go get one done. At this time, the ex was away and the reading started off exactly like this. The government's going to help you. The government is going to set you free. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm not I hate politics and pretty much anything to do with the government, really. Yeah, so he also said, you need to be careful of a girl with blonde hair. She doesn't live here, she lives somewhere else. But you need to really watch out for her. And I was like, okay. I don't know what that means, but anyway. When I first found out that this had happened, I call it shit in the fan moment. Well, to my surprise, the government in Australia did help me get out of this domestic abusive relationship. Now, this is how it went. I went into Centrelink, which is our Australian government place. Some people call it the walk of shame. Yeah, is what it is. But look, all I can say is it helped me and it helped my family. It helped us stay alive. When I got there, I had an appointment set up and I honestly didn't expect any of this. They had told me to leave my handbag outside and I was like, okay. So they locked it up in a secure place. They took me into a room. They said the reason why we need to leave that out there is because you're probably being tracked. And because if there was someone in Centrelink at that appointment in the waiting room. Now, call it coincidence, whatever. But to me, there was this one person every single place I went, like as if I was being spied on. So he knew things that he could not possibly know. So there was some sort of a listening device or some sort of something I can't prove it obviously to the day, but that's what my gut instincts have told me. And then the Centrelink lady saying, you need to leave your bag there. Went into the room, had a meeting. She gave me everything I needed to know, what I needed to do, how I was going to get support from the government, and all of that sort of stuff. Keep in mind, my children were little then. My youngest was 2. Second youngest was around 6 or 7, 11 and 14. So it was, they were youngish. So yeah, the government, you need to look into your resources and what your country has to offer. With Australia, the government can help via Centrelink. That is definitely was a fact for me anyway. So that was pretty trippy. Was she blonde? Yeah, she was. But yeah, you've got to look at these situations. If anyone cheats on you, honestly, now in hindsight, it was the best thing that ever happened to our family. My kids didn't grow up in a toxic environment, broken the cycle of, all of that sort of stuff. And there was no other choice. I had to leave because I'm my children's role model and I had to stand up for what was right. So yeah, let's fast forward a couple more months from that. I was running, obviously it was another Thursday night at Mindle Markets and I'm running my store and I get a text message from an anonymous number. I learned that you go on to some site and you can send a text message from an anonymous number. This text message said something along the lines of, I know what your husband's been up to. And I was like, what the hell? I was just too worried, too scared to even message back. So I rang the husband, no answer. And I rang the husband and I rang the husband and I rang the husband, no answer. Must have known this text had been sent. Eventually, the husband answered. And he goes, oh my God, there's these people, and he made up this massive story about where he works and what, that these people would come in and threatened him and threatened me and threatened, our family and all this sort of stuff. So obviously I had learnt in the future that this was all just him gaslighting me and me getting worried and concerned for him, going, well, just come home, because he was working away at the time. Little did I know that, it was just all him setting, all of this sort of stuff up. So I was like, okay, and I was all worried about him and that sort of stuff. 5 months later, I get that phone call, which after I got that phone call, I had to make a decision with everything going on. I'm a big believer in God, universe, and the power of spirit. And so what I did was I said, get me through this at the speed of light. And that's what they did. It took 6 years, but I got through it. And this is how. I lost an ex. It was no loss. It ended up being a really good thing. It's an absolute positive thing. I'm a big optimist, and I love always turning every negative into a positive and seeing, how is this going to be better for us? At the time, in the moment, I went through hell. I had the banks calling me for 6 years straight. How did the banks not take away our family home in that amount of time? I don't know. It was a pure miracle. A lot of miracles happened in these 6 years, but it does seem like a really long time. You just want to be done and dusted. You want all ties cut and it to be over, but that wasn't the case. After all of the DVO and all that was put on, and had the falling out with my own mother, basically all the toxic people in my life got removed. They got wiped out and life became amazing. We kept moving forward. We just saw everything in a positive light because he was the way he was. My new partner handled everything. I had to just fully cut him off. Otherwise, it was just mental torture. Nobody talks about mental abuse. It's always the physical abuse that you can see, yeah, sure. But the mental torture, the mental abuse, they will try and get at you at any way possible.